from Royal Communications Incorporated. Good evening and welcome to King's News Broom 45 minutes news about Liberia, Africa, and our one world. Today is Thursday, September 18, 2025, and I'm Shemo Dia presenting. In the headline, state prosecutors demand new medical examination for six Capitol building acts on defendants at AMR Healthcare Medical Center, but defense lawyers say the facility lacks independence. Liberian government removes more than 1,000 public school teachers from national payroll. Authorities of Ministry of Education classify them as non-performing teachers. And also in the news tonight, President Joseph Boakai suspends Deputy Youth Minister Brian McGill days after intense pressure from civil society groups. Liberia National Police requests forensic equipment to commence full investigation of McGill's rape allegation. Away from home, the head of Malawi's Electoral Commission has warned political parties not to prematurely declare electoral victory, saying they should wait for the official results. A 3,000-year-old gold bracelet that disappeared from the Egyptian Museum in Cairo was stolen and melted down, Egypt's Interior Ministry says. These plus the news bulletin and voices of those making the news are our package. We'll take a short break to be right back. Welcome back. At this juncture, we join Stephen Compton with the news bulletin.
State prosecutors have ordered fresh medical examination for six of the Capitol building arson defendants at the AMI Expeditionary Healthcare Medical Center, following dissatisfaction with the initial report. The move follows recent claims made by the defendants that they were tortured and sodomized while in state custody. However, Judge Roosevelt Wade has ruled that the examination must be conducted at the AMR's Cinco facilitated and completed with all costs covered by the Ministry of Justice. But defense lawyers have argued that AMI is no longer normal and independent health facility given its alleged ties to both the Ministry of Justice and the Liberia National Police, the very institution accused of abuse. The defense lawyers, who I say to be consulting on next step, have raised serious concerns over AMR's impartiality. They cited that the case of co-defendant Thomas Edry, who collapsed during interrogation, was treated at AMI, where he was diagnosed with malaria despite visible signs of physical trauma. At the same time, the first Judicial Circuit Court, Criminal Code A at the Temple of Justice, has scheduled Wednesday, September 24, for the final ruling on a motion to suppress evidence in a high-profile criminal case involving multiple defendants. Presiding Judge Roosevelt Wade is expected to deliver a ruling that could impact the course of the case, particularly regarding the key evidence central to the prosecution's case. The motion to suppress was filed by a group of defendants, including former House Speaker, Councilor Funati Kofa, Dixon Sibo, Jacob Dibid, Jerry Pockard, Stephen Broad, among others. The motion challenges the relevance of certain evidence, seeking its exclusion from trial proceeding. The government, represented by the Ministry of Justice, is named as the respondent in the matter. The defendants face a range of serious criminal charges, including attempted murder, criminal mischief, criminal conspiracy, criminal facilitation, release of destructive forces, among others. The outcome of the court's decision on the motion will play a pivotal role in the case, as it will determine whether crucial evidence will be permitted during trial. The government of Liberia, through the Ministry of Education, has announced the removal of over 1,000 teachers from the national payroll who are classified as non-performing teachers. According to authorities of the Ministry of Education, the move is part of ongoing effort to reform and improve the ministry's education system. Making the disclosure on behalf of the Minister of Education during Mika press briefing Thursday. Acting Education Minister Anthony Yekad Fokwa said those affected are teachers who have refused to honor their official assignment in other parts of the country. Fokwa noted that the action by the affected teachers have resulted to serious abandonment of school-going children in those parts of the country. He added that the failure by the affected teachers to challenge the ministry's decision has resulted to their replacement by teachers who they believe are committed to do their job. Minister Folkbard also disclosed that as part of its engagement with the Civil Servant Agency for the well-being of the teachers, 417 out of the 2,000 identified volunteer teachers have been processed to begin receiving salaries beginning September, adding that the remaining will be added by October. He further that there is no teaching that teacher earning less than 185 United States dollars, emphasizing the ministry's commitment to ensure that the country's educational sector is revamped and threatened under the leadership of the current minister. The acting education minister at the same time warned school administrators urging strict compliance with the ministry's regulations regarding graduation fees, among other school-related charges, noting that institutions formed in violation of the regulation will face punitive measures. President Joseph Boyka has, with immediate effect, suspended the Deputy Minister for Youth Development at the Ministry of Youth and Sports, Brian McGill, for alleged raping a 14-year-old girl. A statement issued by the Executive Mansion Wednesday noted that the decision was taken in line with the government's zero tolerance policy towards all forms of sexual and gender-based violence and to ensure a fair and transparent investigation. The action taken by the president comes amidst mounting pressure from civil society organizations, including Women Legislative Caucus of Liberia and the general public, against the alleged act of rape carried out by an official of government. The statement further that Deputy Minister McGill will remain suspended until conclusion of the investigation. The Liberia National Students Union has given the government of Liberia a 48-hour ultimatum to release over 7 students of the University of Liberia who were arrested by the Liberia National Police. Recently, the government of Liberia, through the LNP, reportedly arrested over 7 militants of the Student Unification Party who were linked to a protest at the University of Liberia campuses. In a release issued Thursday, Linsu condemned the decision by the Liberian government to arrest and detain students who the union believed were exercising their constitutional rights. According to the student group, the action by the LMP to arrest the protesting students is a reckless display of state power, which they believe contravene the true essence of democracy. The group also termed the LMP as an instrument of intimidation and destruction being used by the ruling Unity Party government to suffocate the student community and the Liberian people. According to Linsu, the students of the University of Liberia are not criminals, but victims of broken system, further calling on the university administration to swiftly resolve its dispute with the University of Liberia Faculty Association and ensure the reopening of school. The Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency has arrested 51-year-old businesswoman Helena Allison in Fishtown, River County with a huge quantity of 3 pills of tramadol and over 100 rounds of live ambulation, according to the LDEA River County Detachment. Agents conducted a search operation at Allison's business premises following tip-off from community members and discovered 3 pills of tramadol tablets valued at approximately 36,300 with 116 rounds of single-barrel ammunition. At the same time, the Liberia National Police has confiscated 108,000 compressed marijuana unit estimated worth around 9,576 United States dollars and turned over to the Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency, according to a press release through Deputy Director for Administration Ernest Tape. Each unit was valued at 76 United States dollars, adding that the suspects fled their scene before the officers arrived. Liberian People's Party political leader, Councillor Tiawan Gonglo, has clarified recent remarks that sparked debate within Liberia's media community, noting that his message was a call for ethical journalism, not an attack on the press. In the release, his titled A Respectful Plea for a Stronger Liberian Press. Councillor Gonglo emphasized a long-standing defense of press freedom and reiterated his commitment to free and independent media in Liberia. According to him, recent caution against mercenary journalism was not an attack on the profession, rather a plea for ethic and professionalism to be upheld in the profession. He said, while most responses were positive, he acknowledged valid concern raised about delayed government payment and limited advertisement support for private media fighters. He said have weakened the industry. Gonglo further urged the government to use its economic power to strengthen, not sideline the press by ensuring timely payment, transparency, public interest, and inclusive media engagement across all counties and languages. According to him, a stronger press becomes a daily classroom for truth, education, and responsible entertainment, adding that such a press can only strive through consistent support and ethical standard and not political control. Feminist activist Vic June Watto and a group of women's rights campaigners on Thursday stormed the headquarters of the Liberia National Police, demanding the swift arrest of Deputy Minister for Youth Development, Brian Mangill. The activists said they could no longer tolerate what they described as deliberate delay in handling Deputy Minister alleged rape case. Medical reports have since confirmed that the man was raped, but authorities of the Liberia National Police are yet to effect the arrest of Mangill, something many people describe as the police silence alleged the shooting alleged rapist because of his political status. The right campaign also accused the government of only being concerned of enforcing law against ordinary Liberians. According to them, the police is hesitating to arrest the accused minister, stating that at this time he should have been behind bars while investigations are ongoing. Why, in response, police officials explained that although medical findings point to rape, more substantial evidence is needed before an arrest can be made. They noted that Brian McGill has denied the allegation, and as such, the police are conducting a geolocation probe to determine his whereabouts on the day of the alleged incident. The group, however, rejected the police position, urging that countless ordinary Liberians are held in detention on mild allegation without the benefit of lengthy investigation before their arrest. The Liberia National Red Cross Society, in collaboration with the National Disaster Management Agency, on Thursday provided updates on the ongoing implementation of Economic Community of West African State Civil Protection and Humanitarian Aid Operation funded project. The initiative valued at US 725,000 supported with more than 1,800 disaster-affected families across four counties: Lofa, Grand Jeded, Monserrado, and Nima counties. Speaking during a joint press briefing in Monrovia, George Blamu, General Secretary and Chief Executive Officer of the Liberia National Red Cross Society, reaffirmed the Red Cross commitment to humanitarian excellence and inter-agency collaboration. According to Blamu, the project primarily focused on two critical areas, including water, sanitation and hygiene, climate-smart agriculture, and livelihood support. He added that the intervention are designed not only to assist with immediate recovery, but also to build long-term resilience among vulnerable populations. The LNRC's chief executive officer furthered that two steering committee members have been set up under the leadership of the ECOWAS ambassador, which include the LNRCS, NDMA, and representatives from the ECOWAS delegation. He disclosed that additional technical committee comprising representatives from the NDMA, LNRCS, Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Public Works, and the Liberia Water the WASH Consortium means monthly to monitor progress and address operational challenges. Meanwhile, the Liberia National Red Cross Society Chief Executive Officer noted that the livelihood component is set to reach 1,820 disaster-affected families, each of whom will receive US 250 via mobile money transfer. Stressed that the selection of the beneficiary was based on needs assessment conducted in 2024 from a list provided by NDMA and its ongoing vigorous field verification to ensure accuracy, transparency, and fairness. Blamwood further emphasized the Red Cross dedication to transparency and accountability. The news bulletin is back to you, Shaman.
Staying content with the news bulletin. The news bulletin is a regular feature on King's Newsroom. A reminder you're listening to King's Newsroom, 45 minutes news about Liberia, Africa, and our one world. Stories we following tonight: state prosecutors demand new medical examination for Sikh Capitol building action defendants at AMR Expeditionary Healthcare Medical Center, but defense lawyers say the facility lacks independence. Liberian government removes more than 1,000 public school teachers from national payroll. Authorities of Ministry of Education classify them as non-performing teachers. And as in the news tonight, President Joseph Boakai suspends Deputy Youth and Sports Minister Brian McGill days after intense pressure from civil society groups. But Liberia National Police requests forensic equipment to commence full investigation of McGill's rape allegation. Away from home, the head of Malawi's Electoral Commission has warned political parties not to prematurely declare electoral victory. saying they should wait for the official results. We take a break to be right back with voices of the newsmakers. Welcome back and thanks for being there. The government of Liberia, through the Ministry of Education, has announced the removal of over 1,000 teachers from the national payroll who are classified as non performing teachers. According to authorities of the Ministry of Education, the move is part of ongoing efforts to reform and improve the country's educational system. Making the disclosure on behalf of the Minister of Education through a press briefing Thursday, Acting Education Minister Anthony Yaike Fokpa said those affected are teachers who have refused to honor their official assignments in other parts of the country.
The minister, during the last budget year, this current budget year is about to conclude, petitioned the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning and the legislature for funding to enroll about 2,000 of our volunteer teachers who are vetted, qualified on the payroll. The Ministry of Finance and Development Planning, in concert with the legislature, said they could provide funding for 1,000 volunteers to be enrolled on the payroll. Then, on our own volition, having realized that there were many teachers on our payroll who refused to go to the areas of assignment. There are teachers on the payroll who, for example, supposed to be assigned in Grand Gide, in one country, in Lofa, in Bakuru, and other places, who were taking salaries and leaving our children on attendance in the classroom. So we did the assessment and we identified around 1,000 of such teachers. Gave them the opportunity to come to the Ministry of Education to show reason why they should not be removed from the classroom, owing to the fact that they abandoned our classroom and left our children on the tent. Because about 1,000 of them could not show any valid reason why they were not in our classrooms, we removed 1,000 of them from the payroll and replaced them with 1,000 volunteer teachers, the actual people who were in our classroom during the work. On my way here, I contacted the CSA to ask how far we were with enrolling the volunteer teachers on the payroll. I was told, and I will state, that as of this morning, 217 volunteer teachers have been processed to receive salaries for September. An additional 600 volunteers, personnel action notices have been processed. They are on the DG desk for signature. The CSA show us that between now and of October, they will do all that they can do to ensure that our volunteer teachers are all enrolled on the payroll.
The Acting Education Minister at the same time warned school administrators urging strict compliance with the ministry's regulations regarding education or graduation fees and other school related charges.
Anything relative to fees, school closure, report. Having said that, I would now like to be clear on the issue of graduation fees. We've had many complaints about graduation fees. Parents are calling all across the country because the schools, notwithstanding the fees that we've specified in the academic calendar, some have chosen to take matters in their own hands and charge our students astronomical fees. The academic calendar states that the graduation fee for 12th grade public school is 5,000 Liberian dollars. Public school 12th grade graduation fee is 5,000 Liberian dollars. Private school 12th grade 100 US dollars. 6th and 9th grade public school 3,500 Liberian dollars. 6th and 9th grade public school 3,500 Liberian. Private schools 6,000 Liberian dollars. Kindergarten public school graduation fee 2,500. Private school 5,000 Liberian. We wanted to state this on the record. First, we show you the source of our authority to set fees. We're now telling you about the fee. We'd like to inform all of our partners in the education space and encourage them to abide by his feasts. Because the law also gives us the authority to find people who are found to be in violation.
He is Acting Education Minister Antonin Yenenke Fokba. The Office of the Establishment of the War and Economic Crimes Court in Liberia says the transitional justice system is not focusing on establishing a tribunal just to prosecute and jail people. Rather, it's focusing on establishing a tribunal that will cater to the needs of those who were severely injured resulting to disabilities. The executive director of the office, Councillor Jala Babu, disclosed that the office is drafting the legislation to the national legislature that will take into consideration all sectors of Liberian society.
The War and Economic Crimes Code is now focused on establishing a code just for people to be tried and put in jail. We go beyond that as an office. It is a transitional justice process. And by that process, we also take into account the rights of people to receive redress other than being satisfied that people have gone to jail. It means, therefore, that several thousands and thousands of people suffered as a result of the war. They would not have been the situations that they are in had it not been because of the civil crisis. Therefore, they definitely do need redress beyond people going to court. The law we are drafting is taking that into account so that tomorrow, when the law is passed, there will be a provision in there on that. However, I cannot, as a person, say conclusively that I know what you're thinking about, I know your heart's desire, and I know your concern. For that reason, we don't need to consult you, not by sight. You are an integral part of the code-making process. That is why we've always encouraged and appreciated NODE that has come to all of the transitional justice meetings to participate, to make their views felt, and all of those. I want to say today, I thank NODE for making itself present.
Meanwhile, the Director General of the Civil Service Agency, Joshua Jokai, has called on heads of ministries, agencies, and commissions or bureaus of government to give people with disability equal opportunities for employment.
For too long, I must tell you the truth that people with disabilities have been pushed at the margins of our society. Too often, they have been seen as objects of pity instead of partners in progress. This is not about a symbol of silence. This is a great symbol of voice that refuses to be ignored. Noah is really standing tall against all odds, and by standing tall, Noah is reminding us that the dignity of a nation is measured by how it treats those who are vulnerable. So there is a responsibility on the part of the government. And as Director General of the Civil Service Agency, I must be very honest with you that government has a sacred duty. And our Constitution guarantees that equal opportunity for every citizen. Our international commitments behind us shows that there must be inclusion at all levels and that our conscience demands.
CSA Director General Joshua Jokai. Earlier, you heard the voice of the Executive Director of the Office for the Establishment of the War and Economic Crime Code, Councillor Jala Babu. Both spoke at programs marking the dedication of the new headquarters of the National Union of Organizations of the Disabled in Monrovia. A reminder, you're listening to King's News, Broom 45 minutes news about Liberia, Africa in our one word. Stories we follow in tonight. State prosecutors demand new medical examination for 6 capital as some defendants at AMR Expeditionary Healthcare Medical Center For defense, lawyers say the facility lacks independence. Liberian government removes more than 1,000 public school teachers from national payroll. Authorities of Ministry of Education classify them as non-performing teachers. President Joseph Boakai suspends Deputy Youth and Sport Minister Brian McGill days after intense pressure from civil society groups, but Liberia National Police request forensic equipment to commence full investigation of McGill's rape allegation. Away from home, the head of Malawi's Electoral Commission has warned political parties not to prematurely declare electoral victory, saying they should wait for the official results. A 3,000-year-old gold bracelet that disappeared from the Egyptian Museum in Cairo was stolen and melted down, Egypt's Interior Ministry says. We take a break to be back with more voices. Welcome back and thanks for being there. The National Commission on Disabilities has called on the national legislature, including the National Union of Organizations of the Disabled, to include the National Union of Organizations of the Disabled in the national budget. The executive director of the commission, Samuel Dane, said NUOD, like the Federation of Liberian Youth and the Liberian Albino Society, should be included in the national budget.
But I also wanted the government to step it up a notch, as we know that NUOD, like the FLY, Federation of Liberian Youth, the Albino Society, and other organizations that have been subsidized by the government, is a struggling entity. And we will speak on behalf of persons with disabilities to drive awareness on their plights. So I think it's only fair if the government can step it up a notch, in addition to the office, provide a budgetary allotment for NUOD so that it can be able to carry on its function years. But we hope that on our watch, our arrest agenda for inclusive development that was inspired by persons with disabilities will reap the fruit of their labor under this administration. It's also my effectual fervent prayers that ministry and agencies will effectuate the arrest agenda, specifically Pillar 6, which is human capital development, and at least provide a DEX for person with disability in each office. Now, a lot of ministry and agency does that for gender inclusivity. We hope and we pray and we expect, because it's our human rights, our fundamental human rights. It's not a privilege that we have employment. If you look at Article 27 of the United Nations Convention on the Rights and Dignity of Persons with Disability, which Liberia is a signatory to, it speaks to this. If we look at Section 5 of the Act that established the National Commission on Disability, also speak to disability equity, and specifically states that for every 100 person employed in an entity, 4% should be persons with disabilities.
For his part, the president of the National Union of Organizations of the Disabled, Peter Flomo, appealed to partners for assistance to renovate and furnish the new headquarters of the institution.
Being an objective of calling for this great opening of the office is for both private and public sectors to help us in order to renovate this identical space and provide logistics for the smooth operation of the National Union of Organizations for the Disabled. As we currently seated, since we enter here, we even touch some area, and as we speak, we have a lot to do. We need AC, we need laptops, we need different other things to make us work successfully in the interest of persons with disabilities. When it comes to fuel, it is difficult for us to get our various weapons for their homes to bring them this far. And I want to say hats off to the IFO family. IFO gave us 2 used cars And I do use, we then use since 2023 to now. Simply what I use, we have to maneuver among ourselves to get food. And we are not here on payroll. This is why I wanted for key government officials to come here. But when it comes to the National Union of Organizations for the Disabled, we are in the 15 political subdivision of the Republic of Liberia. We have nothing called budget. It is something that key government officials to talk about, more especially in the ears of the finance minister.
He is Peter Flomo, the president of the National Union of Organizations of the Disabled. Feminist activist Vic John Wuto and a group of women's rights campaigners on Thursday stormed the headquarters of the Liberia National Police, demanding swift arrest of Deputy Minister for Youth Development Brian McGill. The activists said they could no longer tolerate what they described as deliberate delays in handling the Deputy Minister alleged rape case.
The other people who have their families are South Beach because we're on the quest now to go and start protesting, even if they go start to block South Beach over there as all the rape and the alleged suspects on the outside, they are ready to do it. And we pray that you do the same for the other people. So it is not for her, it's not for them. We want it done for everybody. And I also want to say that we are trying to get the protest on the police, and when they are not here, they are not reason to think that this is selective only because it's a powerful figure. So we do not trust their judgment. You are getting a reason to say you are biased enough and you are protecting it. You are doing the court work. Protecting your place. So we are fine. We have been able to make this fair. You are the one that before going to court. So I have asked for you to leave. No, we should not even be the platform of 14-year-old girl. We're around the now. So yeah, we should tell them where my horse.
In response, Chief of Public Safety of the Liberia National Police, Fred Gay, explained that although medical findings point to rape, more substantial evidence is needed before an arrest can be made.
Yesterday, we issued a press statement. And the press statement was basically of a key issue. Yes, you're right, when somebody is alleged to have rape, it's non-bailable aspect of that law. That's fine. But when they speak about non-bailable, that non-bailable aspect is relative to that with the court. The court, when you take into court on that charge, the court does not allow bail. The only way you will be allowed to be brought off from the court is two things. When proof is not evidence, the presumption is not great. At that point in time, the court will allow you to get out. But when those two things are present, you can get bail or you cannot get bail. So that's it. And what we say to you is, yes, it is alleged that this lady was temporary. And
She was raped.
come in now, listen. Okay.
She was
Alleged
raped.
rape. Okay, alleged rape. And no, listen.
The allegation goes
Can
to
you
the
let me-
suspect. She is
wait.
confirmed rape.
Can you let me-
Listen to you.
Wait, I mean, let me
No,
provide
no.
little thing that you would
No.
listen to me, then you
No,
tell me.
let's just take it one step at a time. This girl is a confirmed rape survivor. Let's call it what it is.
I will continue to, as a law enforcement officer, I will continue to use the word alleged until proven in the code of competent jurisdiction.
No.
That's why it's required. Those are the terminology we use.
No.
When you go to court, you are a suspect. And in the court, you are a
She is a
defendant.
suspect, but she
So-
has been confirmed raped by somebody, this suspect. So let's just say as she is a rape
Okay,
survivor.
okay. Let me-
Trying to play with the words, it actually decreases the severity of it. It is.
So let me get to the substance.
Chief of Public Safety of Liberia National Police, Fred Gay, there. The superintendent of Margaby County, O.J. Morris, has described fight against illegal drugs in Liberia as a national emergency, calling on the national government to take a holistic approach. Speaking at a large gathering Thursday, Superintendent Morris emphasized that the fight against narcotic substances should not be left solely to the Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency.
Because the fight against drugs is not only related to marching or the campaign to launch on a day. It's not a day event. It's a process. A succession of calculated approach. So we want to use a holistic approach from our enemy to first identify all of the institutions.
Margaby County Superintendent O.J. Morris. The Liberia National Red Cross Society, in collaboration with the National Disaster Management Agency, on Thursday provided updates on the ongoing implementation of Economic Community West African States Civil Protection and Humanitarian Aid Operations Fund project. Initiative valued at US 725,000 supports more than 1,800 disaster affected families across 4 counties, including Lofa, Grand Gide, Monserrado, and Nimba. Speaking during a joint press briefing in Monrovia, George Blamo, General Secretary and Chief Executive Officer of the Liberia National Red Cross Society, reaffirmed the Red Cross commitment to humanitarian excellence and interagency collaboration.
We're pleased to provide you with an update on the progress of the ECOWAS-funded humanitarian project, strengthening resilience and supporting the operation with the National Disaster Management Agency and other valued partners. The project is valued at $725,000, as we have said, and it is a beacon of solidarity and hope, targeting minimum of 1,820 disaffected families across 4 counties: Monserrado, Grand Cape Mount, Bong, and Nimba. And the focus of this project, as we can see, is on water, sanitation,
Away from home, the head of Malawi's Electoral Commission has warned political parties not to prematurely declare electoral victory, saying they should wait for the official results. Anambil warning came after the parties of the 2 main presidential candidates, the Corbyn and his predecessor, claimed they had won Tuesday's poll. Speaking at a press conference on Thursday, Ms. Nan Leminja said that only the commission was mandated to release results. A 3,000-year-old bracelet that disappeared from the Egyptian Museum in Cairo was stolen and melted down. Egypt's interior minister says a restoration specialist took the artifact, which dates back to the reign of King Ptolemy of Pharaoh, who ruled Egypt around 1000 BC, from received at the museum 9 days ago, according to the ministry. The woman contacted a silver jeweler she knew who sold the bracelet to a gold jeweler for $3,735, it said. Well, on that note, that's how we come to the near end of this edition of King's Newsroom. But before we leave, a quick reminder of stories we followed in the headlines. State prosecutors demand new medical examination for 6 Capitol building national defendants at AMR Expeditionary Healthcare Medical Center, but defense lawyers say the facility lacks independence. Liberian government removes more than 1,000 public school teachers from national payroll. Authorities of Ministry of Education classify them as non-performing teachers. You also heard in the news President Joseph Boakai suspends Deputy Youth and Sports Minister Brian McGill days after intense pressure from civil society groups. But Liberia National Police requests forensic equipment to commence full investigation of McGill's rape allegation. Away from home, the head of Malawi's Electoral Commission has warned political parties not to prematurely declare electoral victory, saying they should wait for the official results. A 3,000-year-old bracelet that disappeared from the Egyptian Museum in Cairo was stolen and melted down, Egypt's interior ministry says. Many thanks to our reporters, correspondents, and all those who helped in making this edition of King's Newsroom a success. Stephen Conton brought you the news bulletin. Frank Diallo Swen sat at control and handled the technical aspect of this edition. On behalf of the team, I'm Shemodale. I present it. Thanks for listening and watching.